A fool, DC shaking right now because two National Guards were shot in broad daylight 2 blocks away from the White House. This the type of news I got everybody like, what the fuck is really going on? Because when you have something happen like this close to the U.S. security, it make you wonder like, that shit ain't normal, fool. This happened near Farragut West Station, downtown. This area right here is usually crowded with a lot of people. And also, it has a heavy police presence because it's a lot of federal buildings around there. But this man was still somehow capable of opening fire on two National Guard men. This is making national headlines. So also pay attention to what's going on that's not making national headlines. And as of right now, they said they got the man who did it in custody. But they don't have no motive on why he did that shit. And I don't know if this is official reports, but what I heard is the two National Guard men who were shot has been unalived too. I'm gonna keep y'all updated on this situation, but something going on, fool.
An update on the two National Guardsmen who were shot in Washington, D.C. Both of them have passed away. One was a male, one was a female. Both were from West Virginia. We also know that the suspect who is in custody is in critical condition himself, and Trump has said that he is going to pay the steepest price. If you're just catching up to this story, basically what happened was around 2 p.m. earlier today, Eastern Time, two National Guard members were shot near Farragut Square Park that put the White House and the U.S. Treasury both on lockdown. I don't know if they're still on lockdown at this point. We don't have any additional updates on the condition of the suspect, any information on the suspect. I know a lot of you guys want that. Typically, they do the investigation first before they release the name, mugshot, any of that kind of stuff. And it'll probably be a while for some of it, given the fact that he's in the hospital and in critical condition. All of that being said, though, I will keep you guys updated as more information comes out. So make sure that follow button if you don't already. And again, like I said earlier, if you have any additional information that I don't have here, if you're in that area, please drop it in the comments to keep all of us updated. Okay, guys.
Shalom. First and foremost, giving all praises, honor, and glory to our Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of the great millstone who rule and teach well. Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Barakatham, peace and blessings to you, sincere Akim, pushing this gospel to the four corners of the earth, laboring in this truth, in all diligence, righteousness, and sincerity. And to the few sincere Aquath who listen and learn in silence as well, to you I say Shalom. So today, two National Guardsmen were unalived out there in D.C., and this is the theme of the times, and if you ask me, this is just me speaking as a man, but I perceive this to be a false flag, because you heard the one Jake say in the opening clip that this is making national news. So if this is making national news, you got to pay attention to what's not making the news. You know what I'm saying? The things that are going on behind the scenes where everybody's distracted with this right here, and the fact that that particular part in D.C. is pretty much heavily guarded by police, and it's so close to the White House, but this guy was just able to, walk up and start dumping on National Guard. That's highly suspicious, to say the least, and being that we understand what times when we understand there's an agenda at play here and that certain things need to happen in order for this NWO to be fulfilled. Well, we've been seeing things like this happen all year long. You know what I'm saying? So, like I say, this is just me speaking as a man, but, through the spirit, this is another one of the devil's devices. You know what I'm saying? It's got the devil all over it, And when you go to, let's get a scripture. Let's get Ephesians chapter 5, right? Ephesians chapter 5, in verse 14, it says, "Wherefore he saith, Awake thou that sleepest, and arise from the dead, and Yahushai shall give thee light. See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil." Right? So we understand the days are evil. We understand what the will of the Lord is, that America be taken down, that these people be confounded and put in fear. And ultimately, these things are happening to fulfill a bigger agenda, okay? Because the elites, like I said, all this year, they've been doing all these false flag attacks, putting out all these false narratives, You know, first it was the Epstein thing, then they came with the Diddy distraction. You know what I'm saying? Then after that, it was, oh, we going to deploy National Guard to these different states, and now we going to sign the big beautiful bill. You know what I'm saying? So there's been a whole lot of psyops thrown out there to distract you and take your mind away from what's really going on, the real news. You know what I'm saying? Right now, as we speak, these devils are preparing to launch strikes on Venezuela. You know, they're posturing themselves against Nigeria. Okay, the stock market is in free fall. People continue to lose jobs. You know what I'm saying? Food price and inflation continues to go up. So all these things are happening, but this is what's the most pressing thing. 2 National Guard in DC being put down. Okay, that's what's making the headline news. So again, if you just look at what's going on, the times we in, to redeem the time, right? Then we understand that there's always more than meets the eye. Okay, especially when it comes to the devil, man. So you get the article. All right, check this out. 2 National Guard soldiers shot during possible T attack. All right, see? So they're already putting this out there as a T attack, And the fact that it was National Guard that was attacked. Now, there are a lot of unhinged people out here, especially now. People are just crashing out. But come on, man. To do this so close to the White House and to do it against National Guard. And I think Trump, if I'm not mistaken, he made a statement, a couple months ago that if you touch the National Guard, then they'll deal with you harshly. You know what I'm saying? In so many words. So the fact that this happened in D.C. to the National Guard, this could possibly be grounds for the Trump administration to pretty much increase the police presence in these cities, man, because of this one event right here, and possibly many more to come in the coming months. All right, because we know come next year, 2026, that these devils, they're about to go full draconian. You know what I'm saying? These devils, they about to move forward, no holds barred. Okay, so all this year, man, like, you've been seeing them plant the seeds of draconian order within this society. All right, so this here is no different. 2 National Guard soldiers were shot in the head just yards from the White House during a possible T attack by a lone gunman identified as an Afghan national. And see, that this also is what makes me believe even more, what I'm saying, that this was a false flag, because here it is, right? They're referring to this as a T attack, right? They're referring to this as a T attack, but remember, during just a few months ago, like during the summer months, like, there were all these mass shootings happening, right? There were all these mass shootings happening in these different states simultaneously, and those things are pretty much swept under the rug, and they did not label them as T attacks. Okay, they just labeled them as mass shootings, but they did not put the label of terror on these events. All right, but when it comes to an Afghan national, as they claim, oh, this is a T attack. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say, through the spirit, man, this is definitely, this definitely got the devil written all over it, man. So this is another one of those, wag the dog events, false flag, staged attacks. You know what I'm saying? Because it ain't nothing for Esau, to prop up a narrative or to pay somebody to go out and basically do this type of thing. It's nothing. Okay. Reading on. The suspected gunman is in custody and 2 soldiers are in critical condition. Well, now they've been confirmed to be back in the spirit world. Are in critical condition after a shootout at Farragut West Metro Station in the center of Washington, D.C. The suspect was also wounded. Law enforcement sources told NBC News that the gunman had been identified as an Afghan national. Now, how would you know, so soon, all right, within moments of this happening? You know what I'm saying? This only happened a few hours ago, but how would you know within, so quick that this was an Afghan, right? Usually, you know, they say, oh, we got to do an investigation. We got to look into this, look into that, right? But within a few hours, you know, of this event, allegedly they know that this guy is an Afghan national. Okay, so like I said, you know, very suspicious, man. What was that? Okay, yeah, the gunman has been identified as an Afghan national, and the shooting is being investigated as a possible act of terror. Donald Trump vowed that the quote animal who shot the troops will pay a very steep price. FBI Director Kash Patel confirmed that 2 soldiers are being treated at a local hospital after West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey earlier sparked confusion by announcing the soldiers were unalived before walking back his statement. So are they gone or not? You know, what the hell is going on? Graphic images from the scene showed a soldier lying injured on the pavement with blood pouring from his head as a Secret Service agent gave him medical attention. An unidentified trooper was seen on a stretcher inside an ambulance receiving medical attention at the scene of the shooting. And see, at the end of the day, whether this was an organic event, you know, people are just tired of this American society, the way this is going and just crashing out, or this is set up by the devil. Either way, these devils are going to use this to forward their agenda. All right? So when you get into things like this, I mean, we bring these things out to show you what time we're in, to show you that things are not only bad, but they're continuously getting worse, and that these devils that they're working, man. All right? But the bottom line of it is, you know, they're going to use incidents like this to you know, strengthen their power, okay, strengthen their Palantir, strengthen their Project Gideon, okay, all these things. I wouldn't be surprised if they somehow pull up a manifesto of this so-called Afghan national and put that out there, all right, because, you know, we know that Esau is good for that, right? Every time there's a mass shooter, there's always a manifesto laying around somewhere, okay? A goddamn 900-page manifesto of, you know, going into how he hates America, you know, this and that. Like, come on, man. All right? But marvel not if these things come out, because this is the devil that we dealing with. You see? And Esau is so wicked, you know, that he'll sacrifice, you know, one of his own so-called to forward his agenda. Okay, because National Guard, you know, these are pretty much, you know, regular citizens that signed up, you know what I'm saying, to defend the state. You know what I mean? So it's nothing for Esau, because, you know, these elites, they look at the people as going in any damn way. All right, so you're expendable. Okay, you're expendable at the hands of the elite. So it's nothing for Esau to just sacrifice, you know, 2 of his soldiers to, you know, forward what he wants to do. All right, but that's the devil for you. Let's see here. The FBI, ATF, and Secret Service swarmed on the scene as a helicopter landed on the National Mall to evacuate one of the wounded National Guardsmen. Trump has deployed 2,300 National Guard troops into D.C. since August as part of his promise to crack down on rampant crime in the nation's capital, right? So since August, he's, you know, brought in 2,300 troops into D.C. to crack down on crime, all right? But again, they can use this to say, well, you know, 2,300 is not enough, all right? We need more. And not only do we need more National Guard, but we need more surveillance, okay, to prevent these type of things from happening. See, in the spirit, you got to see where all this shit is going, okay? Because right now, what are these devils talking about? They're talking about implementing the Palantir, okay, pretty much as a deterrent to crime before it happens, knowing, having a digital ID. This is also going to be tied to a digital ID and biometrics. You see what I'm saying? Because the scriptures talk about how a man shall desire to enter into a city and shall not be able. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got no digital ID or biometrics. You ain't going nowhere. All right? If you're not on this, digital grid, then Esau, he's not going to allow you to just travel freely like that because of oh, potential crime. Oh, we don't know who these people are. They just going around. All this stuff is happening, right? All right, but through the Spirit, man, we've been sounding the alarm, starting with the elders and apostles. Okay, so don't just look at this as just a one-off incident. Oh, 2 soldiers got shot. Oh, then nah, man. These devils are gonna use. Well, they've already been doing it. They've been using these incidents that's been happening to forward, send the National Guard and implementing laws and things. So this right here is no different. Okay. Oh, the 2 of our National Guardsmen were shot in D.C. Now we need to put up more cameras. Now we need to invest more into the Stargate technology to where we can see everything and prevent these things before they happen. That's gonna be the excuse. You know what I'm saying? And that's the iniquity that these devils consistently bring forth. Proverbs 4. Let's see. Proverbs 4. And let's start at 14. It says, enter not into the path of the wicked. And who is the wicked? It's Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. Okay. Job 9:24 says, the earth has been given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges. If not, where and who is he? Okay. The whole earth is under the vibration of the wicked right now. Okay. And go not in the way of evil men. Avoid it, pass not by it, turn from it, and pass away. For they sleep not, except they have done mischief. And that's these elites. Okay. You know what I'm saying? That's the rulers of this world, man. The wicked. All right. They can't sleep unless they've done mischief. And that's why they sit up all night in these think tanks. They bring the best and brightest minds in wickedness to come together to devise iniquity, to devise evil. All right. To forward their agenda. And their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall. You see? So these devils cannot rest. All right. The scriptures speak about how there's no rest to the wicked. All right. So unless they fulfill their purpose, which is to, destroy people, to steal, to kill, and destroy, then they can't rest, because that's their whole, that's the reason why they exist, to bring forth mischief and evil and darkness into the earth. So if they're not fulfilling their purpose, man, then they're uneasy. Just the same as us, man. Okay, on the right hand side, you know what I'm saying? Like if we don't do a lesson, you know what I'm saying, or if we don't have a lesson, man, then that bothers our spirit, because we're programmed, like we're wired to constantly be in the word, to constantly study, to constantly bring out what the Lord wants us to bring out. So if we don't do that, then that bothers our spirit. Same thing with these devils on the left hand side, though. Okay. Verse 17, for they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence. But the path of the just is as the shining light that shineth more and more unto the perfect day. The way of the wicked is as darkness. They know not at what they stumble. Okay. So these elite devils, these Edomites, they're just constantly just cooking up wickedness, man. And they can do nothing else, because that's their whole purpose, right? When you get that wisdom of Solomon, let's get 2nd Ezra 15. All right, because we are also at the point, man, where you are going to be seeing more police attacks, and a lot of it is going to be organic as well, because the worse that this society gets, people are going to start raising up. You know what I'm saying? People are going to start taking matters into their own hands. You know what I'm saying? Because the time is going to come where people are going to be mass unemployed as they are now. It's only going to get worse. Food scarcity is going to become worse. Just the cost of living is going to get out of control. You know what I'm saying? And the government not doing nothing about it. So as it says, let me see. Yeah, as it says right here, 2nd Ezra's, 15? Yeah, 2nd Ezra's 15. In verse 14, it says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction shall draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes. Right, like I just said, man. People are not going to regard these so-called higher officials no more, man, because they, look, right now the Yahweh Bashmel Shah is exposing everything. All the dirt that these politicians are doing, and between Trump and his cabinet and JD Vance and all these freaks and weirdos, man, like it's become common knowledge now that all these people that are lording over you are complete degenerates. All right, so people are gonna come to the realization that, wait a minute, man, why the hell we gotta listen to them? These people are demons. So hey, as it says, right, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Yeah, people gonna do what they want to do, all right, because they're not gonna have no respect for the authorities no more. Okay, because everything is corrupt, and they're not making the life of the people no better. So from that, yeah, you are going to see more police start to get attacked. You know what I'm saying? Like, you are going to see people start to go for the heads of these politicians, man. And that's why a lot of them now, they're going to protect their military bases, or they're going underground to the bunkers, because they fear of what is about to come very soon. You see? Verse 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. That's going to be them checkpoints, which you're not going to be able to travel unless you have a digital ID very soon. You know what I'm saying? They're already setting it up. And, brother's been bringing it out that they done rolled out a digital ID now in the state of Illinois, you know what I'm saying? And it's being rolled out to other states as well. So very soon, this is going to, become mandatory for all 50 states. And they're going to tell you that you can't work, you can't travel, you can't buy, you can't sell unless you have this digital ID biometrics. And eventually it's all going to be tied to the ultimate goal, which is the implantable RFID microchip that's going to go in your brain or in your right hand, as outlined in Revelation 13:16 on down. Okay? So this is where we at, man. Like, prophecy is speaking loud and clear. There's no way that you can't see it, man, unless it's just a complete reprobate. Okay, which there's a lot of those out here now, right? For because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation as the times be in. Okay, we're coming into a scenario of famine, lack of bread, and great tribulation. You know what I'm saying? Great sorrows upon the earth, where people they're gonna pine away. Okay, they're gonna suffer greatly for living a life of sin and iniquity and being unrepentant about it, man. That's the time we in now. All right. So yeah, just want to bring that out. Lord willing, this is edifying through the Rakakadash. Call Halal Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Ha Kadash. And until next time, Lord willing, shalom to the elect. Kum Yasha Allah, wa Baba Ball.